Have you ever had that feeling, that little knot of dread in your stomach right before you even think about opening your banking app? You know you should look, but a voice inside you whispers, maybe tomorrow. So you swipe past the app on your phone, promising you'll get to it later, when you're more prepared, when you feel a little braver. If this sounds familiar, I want you to really hear this. You aren't lazy and you're not bad with money. You're having a powerful, deeply human reaction that millions of people experience. In fact, one recent survey found that 44% of people have avoided checking a financial account because it just felt too stressful. You are not alone in this feeling. And today we're going to talk about the psychology behind why we do this, and more importantly, how to break that cycle for good. There's actually a name for this habit of ignoring your finances: financial avoidance. It's driven by something behavioral economists call the ostrich effect. The tendency to avoid negative information by, you guessed it, metaphorically burying your head in the sand. It's a completely understandable reaction. Our brains are wired to protect us from threats. When we predict that looking at our bank account will trigger shame, fear, or overwhelm, our internal alarm system goes haywire. It's the same fight or flight response our ancestors had when facing a predator. In that moment, avoidance feels like survival. It gives you a quick, fleeting sense of relief. But here's the trap. That relief is temporary, and it comes at a high price. It creates a vicious, self-reinforcing cycle. When you avoid looking, you might accidentally miss a bill payment, which dings you with a late fee. Or you might overspend because you aren't quite sure what you have, which leads to more debt. These outcomes then create even more guilt and anxiety, which makes you that much less likely to look next time. This isn't just a feeling, it has a real financial cost. Avoidance turns small, manageable issues into large, overwhelming ones. The numbers are pretty eye-opening. Around 60% of people feel anxious and frustrated just thinking about their finances. And yet, despite this being such a common struggle, many of us rarely, if ever, talk about money with friends or family, which only makes the feeling of isolation worse. This silence is what gives the anxiety its power. You start to feel like you're the only one who's struggling, which feeds the shame, which then fuels more avoidance. The temporary comfort you get from not looking is quickly replaced by a bigger, more persistent dread that just hums in the background of your life, draining your energy and making it impossible to feel truly in control. For so long, we've been told that being good with money is all about strict discipline, perfect spreadsheets, and superhuman willpower. So when we find ourselves avoiding our finances, we naturally internalize it as a personal failure. We think, I'm just lazy, or I'm just bad with money. But what if that whole idea is wrong? What if this has nothing to do with your character and everything to do with how your brain is programmed? This is the most important shift to make. Your avoidance isn't a character flaw. It's a protective mechanism that's gone a little haywire. Often these patterns are planted in our earliest experiences with money. If you grew up in a home where money was a constant source of stress, or you saw your parents panic when the bills came, your nervous system learned to link finances with danger. Your body may have stored the lesson that looking at money matters causes pain. This can also lead to what psychologists call learned helplessness, a state where you believe you have no control over a situation, so you just stop trying. If you've tried to get ahead before and felt like you failed, or if someone once told you that you just weren't a numbers person, you might have internalized the idea that you're fundamentally incapable of managing money. This becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You avoid your finances because you believe you're bad at them, which leads to poor outcomes, which then proves your original belief was right. At the core of this cycle are two powerful emotions: fear and shame. Fear that you'll confirm your worst anxieties, that you're in too much debt, or that you're failing. And shame that this somehow makes you less worthy than others. In fact, studies show that for many adults, their financial situation negatively impacts their sense of self-worth. It's no wonder we avoid it. So here's the reframe that can change everything. Looking at your bank account is not a test of your worth. It's not a report card on you as a person. It is simply an act of gathering data. That's it. It's just information. And while that information might feel uncomfortable at first, clarity is always kinder than the constant, low-grade dread of the unknown. The feeling of knowing, even if the news isn't great, is far more empowering. By reframing the act from a judgment to data collection, you start to strip away its emotional power and take back control. Understanding the why is the first step. Now let's build a practical roadmap to move from avoidance to action. The key here is to be gentle with yourself and start small. You don't need a 10-tab spreadsheet and a 5-year plan by tomorrow. You just need to take one small step. Step 1. The safe check-in. Before you even open the app, change the setting. Don't check your balance at midnight when you're already tired and stressed. Create a new, positive ritual around it. I call this the safe check-in. Schedule a time once a week, maybe Saturday morning, to sit down with your finances, pour a cup of coffee you love, put on some calming music, and find a comfortable spot. The goal is to create a low-stakes environment that tells your brain this isn't a crisis, and you don't have to do it alone. Consider a buddy system. Ask a trusted friend or partner to just be in the room with you. They don't even need to see your numbers. You can do this battleship style, where they sit across from you, offering moral support without peeking at your screen. The simple presence of a calm, supportive person can help regulate your nervous system and make the whole thing feel less scary. Step 2. Just the facts. When you finally open your account, your only goal for the first few times is to look at one number, the balance. And that's it. No stories, no judgment, no spiraling into catastrophe. Your brain will immediately want to attach a narrative. Oh no, that's so low, I'm going to be broke forever. Your job is to gently push that story aside and just observe the fact the number is a number, it's neutral. Breathe, look at it for 10 seconds, and then close the app. You did it. That's a win. The goal is to build tolerance and desensitize yourself to the act of looking. Consistency is way more important than intensity. Doing this for 1 minute every week is infinitely better than a stressful 3-hour deep dive once a year. Step 3. Take one small, empowering action. Once you're comfortable with just looking, the next step is to reclaim your sense of agency. Passivity is a breeding ground for anxiety. Action, no matter how small, is the antidote. After you look at your balance, pick one tiny, manageable action to take. This could be transferring just $5 into your savings account. It could be finding one subscription you can cancel this week. It could be writing down 3 things you bought yesterday. This small action is incredibly powerful because it shifts you from being a passive victim of your finances to an active participant. Small wins build momentum and confidence. They send a signal to your brain that you aren't helpless. You are capable of making positive changes. This is how you start to believe in yourself again, one tiny step at a time. Step 4, reframe your inner story. As you do this, listen closely to your self-talk, and when you catch yourself thinking, I'm so bad with money, I want you to actively challenge it, reframe it to, I'm learning how to get better with my money. And this isn't just a silly word game, it's a profound shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. I am bad is an identity. I am learning is a process. This reframe reduces shame and opens the door for progress. You wouldn't expect to be a master chef after cooking one meal, so don't expect to be a financial guru overnight. Give yourself some grace. If these steps made you feel even a little more in control and you want to keep going on this journey to build a healthier, less stressful relationship with money, I encourage you to subscribe. We regularly share videos designed to help you understand the psychology of your finances and take real, practical steps toward a better future. The path out of financial avoidance isn't a sprint, it's a slow, steady walk. It starts by acknowledging the fear, understanding it's a normal human response, and giving yourself permission to start ridiculously small. Remember, the goal isn't to love checking your finances, you just have to do it. The truth is, the time is going to pass anyway. The only question is whether you'll spend the next year stuck in that same state of simmering anxiety, or if you'll spend it taking small, consistent steps that lead to clarity, confidence, and true control. You don't have to fix everything today, just take the first step. Maybe after this, your first step is simply finding your banking app on your phone. Maybe it's taking a deep breath before opening it. Or maybe it's just admitting to yourself for the first time that you're scared. And that's okay. Whatever your step is, start there. Because clarity is always kinder than avoidance, and you are far more capable than you realize. You've got this.